At first, it was just a cough. You know that annoying cough that feels like there's a little bug tickling your throat? Well, that's exactly how it was. I thought it was just an allergy, I don't know, something in the air. I live in a big city, the pollution is bad. I had some ginger tea, bought some lozenges, and kept going. But the damn thing wouldn't go away. Worse, it started coming with a little pain in my chest. Very mild, but it kept showing up, especially when I took a deep breath or exerted myself. Oh, it must be tiredness, I would say to myself. I work all day, I come home and still have things to do around the house. Who doesn't feel a little ache every now and then? I tried to ignore it. I really tried. But one night, I woke up coughing so much that I tasted rust in my mouth. I looked at my hand and there was a little blood. In that moment, the ground disappeared from under my feet. Reality hit me. I couldn't pretend everything was okay anymore. I needed to see a doctor, urgently. I'm Amanda. I'm 41 years old, and until recently, I led a pretty normal life. I worked as a graphic designer, loved going out with friends, going to the movies, and spending weekends with my family. A regular life, you know, full of joys, but also with the everyday worries. I never imagined something like this could happen to me, that one day I would be here sharing my story of overcoming my battle against lung cancer. And why am I doing this? Because I know my experience can help others. I know that often we ignore the signals our body sends, thinking it's just tiredness, stress, or something temporary. I did that myself. I took too long to see a doctor, too long to give my symptoms the attention they deserved, and I regret that a lot. If I had acted differently, maybe the diagnosis wouldn't have been so late. Maybe the treatment wouldn't have been so aggressive. But there's no point in dwelling on the past. What matters now is the present and the future. And I want to use my story to alert, to inform, to raise awareness. I want people to learn from my mistakes, to pay attention to the signals of the body, to not be afraid to seek medical help. My goal is to turn my experience into something positive, into a tool for prevention and awareness. If I can save a life or even help someone get an early diagnosis, then it will have been worth it. That is my mission, my way of giving a new meaning to everything I have gone through and am still going through. Negligence. Oh, that was my great companion for a long time. At first, the cough was sporadic, and I, being a good Brazilian, immediately thought, it's the dry weather. I drank plenty of water, did saline inhalation, and it seemed to improve. Then, the little pain in the chest began to bother me more. But who hasn't felt chest pain due to stress, right? My job was very demanding. Tight deadlines, endless meetings. I told myself it was just muscle tension, bought a cream to relax the muscles, and tried to ignore it. I even took an analgesic from time to time, just to relieve the pain and sleep better. No need to see a doctor. Why bother? I thought I knew what was happening and could solve everything on my own. It was the survival kit of adulthood. Painkillers for pain, cream for tense muscles, and chamomile tea for relaxation. I thought everything was under control. Over time, the pain intensified, and the cough became more frequent, sometimes with a wheeze in the chest. I started feeling tired, very tired, even after a full night's sleep. But again, the blame was on work, the busy routine, the lack of time to take care of myself. When things calm down, I will take a few days off and rest, I promised myself. But things never calmed down, and time for myself always came last. For the cough, I started using expectorant syrups, those that we buy at the pharmacy without a prescription. You know? But they only relieved for a few hours, and then the cough came back with more force. And the worst part was that I was already feeling short of breath, especially when climbing stairs or doing any physical activity. But I simply ignored it. After all, who has time to go to the doctor when there are 1,000 things to do? The truth is, I was afraid of what he could tell me. It was easier to believe that it was just fatigue than to face the possibility of something serious. And so, I kept pushing it off until the blood appeared. The escalation of symptoms was relentless. In the beginning, the chest pain was like an occasional visitor, a mild discomfort that I could suppress with painkillers and positive thoughts. But gradually, it became a constant presence, an unwanted companion that followed me everywhere. It started to radiate to the back, to the shoulder, becoming sharp, piercing, especially when I took a deep breath or exerted myself. The work, which used to give me so much pleasure, turned into a torment. Sitting in front of the computer for hours became unbearable. The pain prevented me from concentrating, from being creative. Meetings became torture. Coughing during a project presentation was extremely embarrassing. I had to reduce my working hours, which directly impacted my income and increased my stress. Relationships also suffered. Outings with friends became rare. The energy to talk, to laugh, simply didn't exist. I felt exhausted, irritated, impatient. I began to isolate myself, to avoid people, afraid they would notice that something was wrong. Weekends with family, so important to me, turned into a burden. Playing with my nephews was impossible. Shortness of breath prevented me from running, jumping, participating in games. Even simple tasks such as tidying up the house or cooking became a challenge. Physical limitations became increasingly evident. Walking a few blocks was a sacrifice, let alone climbing the stairs. Sleeping became a torture. Coughing woke me up several times during the night. The pain prevented me from finding a comfortable position. And amid all this, the feeling of helplessness, frustration, despair. Seeing my body failing, losing strength, consumed me from within. I felt like a rag doll, lifeless, without energy, without hope. Fear, that was my greatest companion. Fear of what was happening to me, fear of the diagnosis, fear of treatment, fear of death. I tried to hide the situation from those around me, afraid of worrying them, of being judged, of being seen as an invalid. I made excuses to justify my absence, my fatigue, my irritability. I pretended everything was fine, even when inside I was falling apart. But inside, the anguish grew every day, every night, with each new limitation. The truth is, I was drowning in a sea of uncertainties and fears, not knowing where to turn, who to ask for help. Living became a constant struggle, a daily battle against pain, fatigue, and hopelessness. That metallic taste in my mouth, the blood on my hand, it was like a reality check. The penny finally dropped. I could no longer ignore, pretend everything was fine. I needed to see a doctor, and quickly. I scheduled an appointment with a general practitioner, the first available one. I remember being terrified, with trembling hands and a pounding heart. The waiting room felt like a maze, each cough echoing like a harbinger of the worst. During the consultation, I tried to explain everything I was feeling, from the persistent cough to the chest pain and shortness of breath. The doctor examined me carefully, listened to my lungs, and asked me several questions about my health history and habits. He seemed concerned, which only increased my anxiety. At the end of the consultation, he asked me to undergo a battery of tests: chest x-ray, computed tomography, and blood tests. I left the office dazed, with a medical request in my hands and a lump in my throat. The wait for the results was torture. The days dragged on like centuries. Each minute felt like an eternity. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think of anything else but the tests. I researched everything about lung cancer on the internet, which only made me more desperate. I read patient stories, scientific articles, discussion forums. The more I read, the more lost and scared I felt. Finally, the day to get the results arrived. I was accompanied by my best friend, the only person who knew what was happening to me. I entered the doctor's office with wobbly legs, holding my friend's hand tightly. He analyzed the tests in silence, with a serious expression on his face. Then he took a deep breath and said, "Amanda, the tests confirm the suspicion. You have lung cancer." The doctor's words echoed in my head like thunder. Cancer, the word I had so feared, the word I had tried so hard to avoid, was now my reality. I felt like the ground was disappearing from beneath my feet, like the world was collapsing around me. A whirlwind of emotions took over me. Shock, disbelief, fear, anger, sadness. I couldn't believe this was happening to me, that my life had turned upside down in an instant. At that moment, I felt completely lost and vulnerable. The future, which had once seemed so certain and promising, was now a frightening mystery. I began to question everything. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? How much time do I have? What will the treatment be like? Will I survive? My mind was in chaos, a whirlwind of doubts and uncertainties. I needed answers. I needed support. I needed someone to help me understand what was happening and to face this battle. I began researching information about lung cancer, about treatment options, about side effects. I talked to other patients, participated in support groups, sought psychological help. Gradually, I found the strength to fight, to not give in to despair. I discovered that I was not alone, that there were many people going through the same situation, and that together we could support and strengthen each other. The journey would be long and difficult, but I was willing to face it with courage and hope. The beginning of treatment was like entering a field of war without knowing the rules. The confirmation of cancer came accompanied by a whirlwind of information about treatment options, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery. Deciding which path to follow was anguishing. Each choice seemed to have a high price. I opted for chemotherapy, hoping that it could shrink the tumor and give me more time. The first session was terrifying. I remember the strong smell of the medications, the drip slowly dripping into my vein, the sensation of cold running through my body. I left the hospital exhausted, with my head spinning and a bitter taste in my mouth. The following days were even worse. The side effects began to appear. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, extreme fatigue. I could barely get out of bed. The food wouldn't go down. My body was weak and debilitated. Losing my hair was one of the most difficult moments. Seeing my hair falling out in tufts made me feel even sicker, more fragile, more vulnerable. I shaved my head and bought a wig, but nothing seemed to make me feel better. The image in the mirror was of someone I didn't recognize, someone the disease had transformed. Hospitalizations became frequent. With every infection, every complication, I needed to go back to the hospital, be isolated in a room, far from my family and friends. The needles, the tests, the medications, everything reminded me of my illness, of my fragility. The pain was constant, both physical and emotional. I missed my normal life, my routine, my freedom. There were times when I thought about giving up, when the pain and suffering seemed unbearable. Hope was fading every day. With each new side effect, with each new hospitalization. But in the midst of darkness, there was always a light. The support of my family, friends, and the medical team was essential for me to keep going. They gave me strength, encouraged me not to give up, reminded me how loved I was and how important I was. The tenderness of my mother, who visited me every day in the hospital, brought me comfort and hope. The messages from my friends encouraging me to fight gave me the courage to continue. The professionalism and dedication of the medical team, who took care of so lovingly, made me feel safe and supported. Faith was also an important pillar in my journey. I prayed every day, asking God to give me strength to overcome the illness, to heal me. I believed that with His help, I could win this battle. I thank every professional who cared for me and continues to care for me. It was not and is not easy, but with the support of everyone, I remain strong. I learned a lot about myself during this time, and that life is much more valuable than we imagine. It is moments like these that make us appreciate every detail. A hug, a smile, a good morning. Often, when we hear about palliative care, the first thing that comes to mind is terminal condition. It is important to understand that there is a significant difference between the two. Terminal condition refers to the final phase of life, when the disease no longer responds to treatments and life expectancy is very short. Palliative care, on the other hand, is an approach aimed at improving the quality of life of patients and their families facing issues associated with serious illnesses at any stage of the disease. It is crucial to demystify the idea that palliative care is the end of the line. On the contrary, it is a set of care that can be offered from the diagnosis of a serious illness, such as cancer, and continues throughout the treatment. Regardless of the possibility of cure, the main goal is to alleviate suffering, whether physical, emotional, social, or spiritual. Palliative care does not focus solely on the disease itself, but rather on the person as a whole. A multidisciplinary team composed of doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and other professionals works together to provide individualized and comprehensive care. The focus is on providing comfort, dignity, and autonomy to the patient, allowing them to live the best possible life even in the face of illness. Pain relief is one of the pillars of palliative care. Pain can be caused by the disease itself, treatments, or other associated conditions. The palliative care team uses various strategies to control pain, from medications to complementary therapies. In addition to physical pain, palliative care also addresses the patient's mental health. Illness can generate anxiety, depression, fear, and other negative emotions. Psychological support helps the patient cope with these emotions and find ways to face the situation with more resilience. In my case, palliative care was essential in dealing with the side effects of chemotherapy and the stress of the illness. In addition to medications to control nausea and pain, I found relief in alternative therapies such as meditation and yoga. Meditation helped calm my mind, reduce anxiety, and connect with my inner self. Breathing exercises provided moments of relaxation and helped me cope with shortness of breath. Yoga, on the other hand, helped me strengthen my body, improve flexibility, and relieve muscle tension. Gentle postures and stretching exercises provided me with physical and mental well-being. Acupuncture was also a great ally in relieving pain and nausea. The thin and delicate needles applied to specific points on the body provided me with immediate and long-lasting relief. These alternative therapies helped me complement conventional treatment and improve my quality of life. They provided me with moments of relaxation, pain relief, and emotional well-being. I learned to take care of myself in a more complete way and to appreciate each moment, even in the face of illness. Palliative care showed me that it is possible to live well, even with a serious illness. The important thing is not to lose hope, seek support, and take care of both body and mind. And then, like a bucket of cold water, came the news of relapse. After months of intense treatment, of chemotherapy, of back and forth to the hospital, the sensation was that I was finally breathing, that the storm had passed. I was recovering, slowly returning to my normal life. But in a routine exam, there it was again, the shadow in the lung, insistent, stubborn. The feeling was that everything had begun again, that whirlwind of emotions, the fear, the anguish, the uncertainty, all came back in full force. The frustration was enormous. I had dedicated so much, fought with all my strength, and now I needed to face it all over again. It was as if the disease was mocking me, saying, "You didn't get rid of me so easily." This time, the symptoms were different. In addition to the cough and chest pain, I began to feel strong back pains, which prevented me from sleeping and carrying out simple activities. The fatigue was even more intense. I felt exhausted all the time, with no energy for anything. The shortness of breath was constant, even at rest. I knew something was wrong, that the situation was more serious than before. The tests confirmed the worst, metastasis. The disease had spread to the bones, causing the back pains. The diagnosis was devastating. The feeling was that my body was betraying me, that the disease was taking over me. The fear of death, which was previously dormant, awakened with all its strength. I began to think about the future, what I would leave behind. My dreams, my plans. Accepting this new reality was a painful and difficult process. I had to face my fears, my anxieties, my uncertainties. I cried a lot. I rebelled. I questioned the meaning of life. But gradually, I realized that I couldn't let myself be defeated, that I needed to find the strength to move forward, to live the best way possible, despite the disease. I sought psychological help to deal with my emotions. The therapy sessions helped me understand my fears, accept my new reality, and find strategies to face the situation with more resilience. Faith has also been an important pillar in my journey. I pray every day, asking God to give me strength, to guide me, to protect me. I believe He is with me, supporting me and giving me courage to move forward. I decided to focus on living in the present, on enjoying each moment, on valuing the little things in life. I started paying more attention to my family, my friends, my hobbies. I began doing things that bring me joy, like reading, listening to music, taking walks in the park. I learned to be grateful for each day, for each smile, for each hug. I know the battle against cancer is long and difficult, but I am willing to face it with courage, hope, and faith. I believe that, with the help of God, my family, my friends, and the medical team, I will be able to overcome this stage and live many more years with quality and joy. The most important thing is not to lose hope and never stop fighting. The illness taught me, in the hardest and most unexpected way, the beauty and urgency of living in the present. Before, I used to live too much in the future, planning, aiming, worrying about what was to come. I forgot to savor the now, to appreciate the small joys that life offered me every day. Now, each sunrise is a gift, a new opportunity to smile, to love, to be happy. I learned to slow down, to take deep breaths, and to pay attention to the details that used to go unnoticed. I discovered that happiness is not in great achievements or extraordinary moments, but in the small things that make my daily life lighter and more colorful. A peaceful breakfast with my family, a pleasant conversation with a friend, an interesting book, a walk in the park, the affection of my cat. It's these simple moments that bring me joy and make me feel grateful for life. I resumed some activities that brought me great pleasure and that I had abandoned due to lack of time or prioritizing other things. I started painting again, cooking, taking care of my garden. I rediscovered the joy of creating, expressing my creativity, and connecting with nature. Painting allows me to vent my emotions, cooking brings me satisfaction, and gardening connects me with the beauty and serenity of nature. The moments of joy have become even more valuable. I cherish every smile, every hug, every word of affection. I seek to be present in every moment, making the most of the company of the people I love. I have learned to express my feelings with more sincerity and openness. I am no longer afraid to show my vulnerability, to speak out about what I feel, to ask for help when I need it. Illness has taught me the importance of being authentic and true to myself and to others. Relationships have become even more important. I have strengthened my bonds with my family, my friends, and my colleagues. I have realized how crucial it is to have people by my side to support me, give me strength, and make me smile. I have learned to be more present, more attentive to the needs of others, and more willing to help. I have discovered that friendship is one of life's greatest treasures, and that sharing moments with the people we love is an invaluable gift. Illness has taught me to prioritize what truly matters, and to let go of unnecessary worries. I have stopped caring about what others think, about criticisms, about expectations. I have started focusing on doing what makes me happy, following my heart, and living according to my values. I have learned to say no to things that do not add value, that drain my energy, and that distance me from my essence. Gratitude has become a daily practice. I am thankful for each day, for each opportunity, for each person who is a part of my life. I am grateful for my health, my family, my friends, my work. I am even thankful for the difficulties, the challenges, the pains, because I know they are what make me grow, learn, and become a better person. Illness has transformed me. It has made me stronger, more resilient, more compassionate, more grateful. It has taught me to value life, to love intensely, and to live in the present with joy and hope. I have learned that happiness is not a destination, but a journey, and that every step, every choice, every moment is an opportunity to be happy. Life is a precious gift, and I am determined to live it to the fullest with courage, faith, and love. Death, once a distant and abstract theme, has become a constant presence in my life. I no longer fear it as I did before, but I deeply respect it. Illness has taught me that life is finite, that time is precious, and that we must make the most of it. I no longer live in fear of the future, but rather with gratitude for the present. I know that death is a natural part of the cycle of life, and that one day we will all depart. What matters is what we do with the time given to us, how we live, how we love, how we contribute to the world. I believe that life is a journey of learning, growth, and transformation. Every experience, every challenge, every pain teaches us something important about ourselves and about the world. Illness was undoubtedly the most difficult experience of my life, but also the one that transformed me the most. I became stronger, more resilient, more compassionate, more grateful. I learned to cherish the little things, to love intensely, and to live the present with joy and hope. Compassion, in particular, flourished in me in a way I never imagined. Before, I was more focused on myself, my needs, my goals. Illness opened my eyes to the suffering of others, made me realize how important it is to be supportive and offer aid to those in need. I started volunteering in hospitals, talking to other patients, sharing my experience, and offering a friendly shoulder. I discovered that helping others benefits me, gives me purpose, and connects me to something greater than myself. My legacy? I would like to be remembered as someone who lived intensely, loved deeply, and fought courageously. I want to leave an example of overcoming, resilience, and hope. I want to inspire others to take care of their health, to value life, and to live fully, without fear, without regrets. I hope that my story serves as encouragement for those facing similar challenges, so they do not lose faith, do not give up the fight, and seek support and comfort from those they love. I believe prevention is key. If I could go back in time, I would have paid more attention to the signals of my body, would have sought a doctor sooner, and would have adopted healthier habits. I want to raise awareness about the importance of regular checkups, balanced nutrition, physical activity, and avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. Health is our most precious asset, and we must care for it with affection and responsibility. For those who are facing the same battle as I am, I want to say, don't give up. I know it's hard, the pain is intense, and hope may seem distant, but don't let fear and hopelessness overwhelm you. Seek support from family, friends, the medical team, and support groups. Talk to other patients, share your experiences, and receive the love and support from those who understand what you're going through. Remember that you are not alone. There are many people who care about you and are willing to help you overcome this difficult phase. Believe in healing, keep the faith, and move forward with courage and hope. Life is a precious gift and worth fighting for. And always remember, hope is the last thing to die. Keep the faith, move forward, and never give up fighting for a better future. With love and hope, carry on, and see you soon. If I could give one piece of advice to everyone, it would be this: listen to your body's whisper. It speaks to us all the time through small signs, subtle discomforts. Do not ignore them. A persistent cough, an unending pain, an inexplicable fatigue. These are warnings that deserve attention. Don't be afraid to see a doctor, to do tests, to seek answers. Prevention is our greatest ally in the fight against cancer. An early diagnosis can make all the difference between life and death. Believe me, I know how hard it is to face the possibility of a serious illness. Fear paralyzes us, stops us from acting. But we must not let fear dominate us. We need courage to face reality, to seek help, and to fight for our health. Remember that you are not alone. There are many people who care about you and are willing to offer support and comfort. Throughout my journey, I've learned that faith, hope, and love are powerful weapons against illness. Faith strengthened me in moments of despair. Hope kept me alive. And the love of my family and friends gave me the strength to move forward. Don't lose faith. Don't give up hope, and embrace love. They are the fuel that drives us to fight and to win. Life is a precious gift, a miracle that we should celebrate every day. Do not let illness steal the joy of living. Enjoy every moment, cherish the small things, and love deeply. Be grateful for all you have, and do not forget that, even in the toughest times, there are always reasons to smile. My heart overflows with love and gratitude for all who supported me during this journey. To my family, my friends, the medical team, and all who sent me messages of love and hope, thank you very much. You were my strength, my light, and my safe haven. I believe in the power of life, in the human capacity to overcome, and in the importance of cherishing each moment. Life is beautiful, even with all its imperfections, and deserves to be lived intensely with courage, faith, and love.